Karen tried to ban my Patriot launch replica. I invited a senator to fire it for Memorial Day. Have you ever had a neighbor who thought they could control your backyard? It was a sunny May morning in 2025, and I was tinkering in my garage, putting the final touches on my pride and joy, a meticulously crafted replica of the Patriot launch, a Revolutionary War-era cannon I'd spent months building. The plan was simple: fire it off for Memorial Day to honor the fallen. A small but heartfelt tribute to the sacrifices that shaped our nation. The cannon wasn't just a prop. It was a symbol of resilience, history, and the freedom to celebrate both. But then Karen stormed in, her face twisted with righteous fury, ready to shut it all down. Karen lived 2 houses down, the kind of person who'd call the HOA over a slightly overgrown lawn. She'd heard about my cannon project, probably from her endless porch surveillance, and decided it was her personal mission to stop it. "That thing is a weapon!" she shrieked, standing in my driveway with her phone already recording, as if I were plotting a siege. "You can't have explosives in a residential area. I'm reporting this to the city." Her voice carried that unmistakable tone of someone who thrives on control, who sees every spark of individuality as a threat. I tried to explain it was a replica, loaded with nothing more than black powder for a loud bang, no projectiles. But Karen wasn't here for reason. She was here for war. I wasn't about to let her ruin my tribute. The Patriot launch was more than a hobby. It was a nod to the Minutemen, to the soldiers who fought for liberty. I checked the local ordinances. Black powder displays were legal with proper precautions, which I'd taken. Permits? Filed. Safety measures? In place. Karen's accusations were baseless, but she wasn't one to let facts get in her way. She stormed off, promising to escalate things, and I knew she'd rally her army of complainers. What she didn't know was that I had an ace up my sleeve, and it wasn't just another neighbor with a grudge. The next day, I got a call from the city. Karen had indeed filed a complaint, claiming my cannon was a public safety hazard. The clerk sounded apologetic, but they had to investigate. Meanwhile, word spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Karen had posted on the community app, painting me as some unhinged militia nut. "This man is endangering our children," her post read, complete with a blurry photo of my garage. Comments piled up, some from her usual allies, others from folks who didn't even know me but loved a good outrage. But then, a twist. My buddy Mike, a local history teacher, chimed in online. "This is a replica, folks, not a bazooka. It's a tribute to our veterans. Maybe talk to him before you burn him at the stake." Mike's post got traction, and suddenly, the tide of comments started shifting. People were curious, not angry. Karen's narrative was cracking. I decided to lean into it. If Karen wanted a spectacle, I'd give her onion my terms. I reached out to Senator Tom Reynolds, a local legend known for his love of history and veterans' causes. I'd met him at a VFW event a year back, and we'd bonded over Revolutionary War stories. When I told him about the cannon and Karen's crusade, he laughed. "Sounds like you need some firepower, figuratively and literally. Mind if I swing by for Memorial Day and fire that thing myself?" Couldn't believe it. A senator at my backyard barbecue, firing my Patriot launch? Game on. Memorial Day arrived, and my backyard was packed. Neighbors, friends, and even a few curious folks from Karen's app thread showed up, drawn by the promise of a senator and a cannon. I'd set up a safety perimeter, roped off with American flags, and had a fire extinguisher on standby. The cannon gleamed under the sun, its polished barrel a testament to months of work. Senator Reynolds arrived in jeans and a Support Our Troops cap, shaking hands and cracking jokes. The mood was electric, patriotic, defiant, alive. Karen, predictably, was nowhere to be seen, but I knew she was watching from her porch, probably dialing the city again. As the senator gave a short speech about sacrifice and freedom, I scanned the crowd. That's when I noticed Mrs. Thompson, the quiet widow who lived across the street. She was in her 80s, rarely spoke, but always waved when I mowed my lawn. Today, she was in the front row, eyes misty, clutching a folded flag, her late husband's, I later learned, a Vietnam vet. She approached me after the speech, voice soft but firm. My George would have loved this. Don't let that woman stop you. Her words hit harder than any cannon blast. This wasn't just about me or Karen Anna Maria, it was about something bigger. Then came the moment of truth. Karen had shown up after all, standing at the edge of my property with a city inspector in tow. The inspector, a tired-looking guy named Carl, had a clipboard and a look that said he'd rather be anywhere else. Karen pointed at the cannon, her voice carrying over the crowd. That's the weapon. He's breaking the law. Carl sighed, checked his notes, and asked to see my permits. I handed them over, calm as could be. He skimmed them, nodded, and turned to Karen. Everything's in order, ma'am. This is a legal display. Her face went red, then white, then red again. The crowd murmured, some stifling laughter. Karen had marched in expecting victory, but she'd miscalculated. Senator Reynolds stepped up to the cannon, a grin spreading across his face. Let's do this for the fallen, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. He lit the fuse, and with a thunderous boom, the Patriot launch roared to life, sending a cloud of smoke into the sky. The crowd erupted in cheers, kids whooping, adults clapping. Mrs. Thompson dabbed her eyes, smiling. Even Carl gave a small nod of approval. Karen, though? She was frozen, her phone still in hand, recording her own defeat. The inspector walked away, and she followed, muttering about appealing to higher authorities. But the moment was ours. As the smoke cleared, I overheard neighbors talking. Some who'd sided with Karen on the app were now laughing, admitting they'd been wrong. Mike, the history teacher, was explaining the cannon's historical significance to a group of teens who were actually listening. Senator Reynolds stayed for burgers, swapping stories with veterans in the crowd. Mrs. Thompson hugged me before she left, whispering, "Thank you for this." That night, the community app lit up with photos of the event, me cannon, the senator, the flags. Karen's post was buried, her complaints drowned out by a wave of support. In the days that followed, Karen tried to rally again, emailing the HOA about noise violations. But the board, tired of her antics, shut her down. The city confirmed my permits were airtight. And Mrs. Thompson? She started coming bi-weekly, bringing cookies and stories about her husband. The cannon, once a point of contention, became a neighborhood legend. People stopped by to ask about it, and I even started a small history club with Mike, teaching kids about the revolution. Karen moved away a few months later. Her house sold to a young couple who loved the cannon story. I don't know if she ever learned her lesson, but I like to think she's out there somewhere, still fuming over a battle she couldn't win. As for me, I'm already planning next year's Memorial Day, maybe with a bigger cannon. Freedom, after all, isn't just about the past, it's about standing your ground, honoring what matters, and bringing people together. What do you think? Was I right to push back against Karen's crusade? Or should I have toned it down to keep the peace? Share your thoughts below.